everybody, I'm Amber Ryan and welcome to my channel. Today, as you can tell, is a very special video. We are celebrating my favorite holiday, Halloween. Woo! It is finally spooky season here and I am super excited because today we are going to be playing another special edition of my TBR clue game. Now if you're new here, about around February of this past year, I handmade a TBR clue game based off of basically the mystery game Clue. Of course, and this game I handmade, painted my own game board with each room representing a genre of books, and then I also made miniature books to play as little pieces, and I also made my own character pieces to play as the pawns or whatever. And so and usually there are also some miniature bonuses on the board as well, set in a few of the rooms, and if you get that you get a special bonus, but each book represents a prompt that you can get that goes towards your TBR for the month. So this month is a little different, and by a little I mean a lot. So I worked really hard on this edition of the game, the Halloween edition. I'm very excited. I've been really looking forward to this. I've been planning it for a few months now, and I honestly was surprised I pulled it off on such short notice. So there may be a slight delay to this video coming out, but that's kind of the way I roll these days. But hopefully this will come out sometime in the month of October, and I will hopefully have other videos as well coming out in October because I have a lot of planned. I'll have a lot of ideas. However, this month is already, is already going to be crazy. I do an annual Halloween party for friends and family at my house. It takes a lot to prepare for that. And also, well, the reason it's taken me so long to even film this video, it is the 3rd. My mom's birthday was on the 1st, so we celebrated for her. And so, yeah, so there's just a lot that's going on this month, and I feel like I'm leaving out stuff. But yes, so we're going to be playing the Halloween edition of TBR Clue in this video, and let me show you how different it is. So first off, the genres don't matter for this game. Scratch them. And we do not have any of our usual bonus pieces on the board either. We have a different bonus. Now if you were around here for my birthday edition of the game back in July, you will know that I set special tiles, star tiles, down on the board. If I landed on it, I rolled like a 6-sided die, and whatever it landed on, it correlated to a bonus prompt. So I have something similar for the Halloween edition. I have laid down these retro jack-o'-lantern tiles all over the board. Maybe too many, but I have these all over the board, and if I land on them, oh, I've already created a mess. Okay, now if I land on those tiles, I get to flick the Halloween spinner. And yeah, basically, as you can tell, it goes 1 through 6. So I have 6 different possible bonus prompts that I could land on. Now, like I said, the genres do not matter for this game. So basically, whatever rolls, you know, it determines which room I play in. However, the genres just don't matter for this game. They're all gonna be for spooky season, and they just have to correlate to the prompt. Now, instead of my usual miniature book pieces, I have these, I can't even pick a favorite. I have these little retro spooky comic books that are representing my books this month. How cool is that? And I think I only have 1 duplicate of these comic books actually. They are all different. I made, I think, about 40 different little comic books, and then of course we have several of those retro jack-o'-lantern tiles on there. So the board is loaded. There's a lot of possibilities, and I'm super excited. And not only that, I even made new character pieces. They are little ghosts. So I'm very excited for you to see the board for this month, and without further ado, let's just get into the game. Woo! Alright, so look how insane the Halloween edition board game looks. Each character is a different ghost. I am super proud with how I was able to accomplish this so quickly. But yes, it looks amazing. Super happy. Also, the comic books, I did just take the binder clips off each one. So if they start opening like that, there's really nothing I can do. My mistake was using crafter's tape instead of actual glue. I just don't like the mess of glue. So, my mistake. Alright, so also I got some special die for this game. They are Halloween pumpkin dice. So yes, so alright, so I actually only have maybe half an hour max to play the game, so let's just get right into it. I think I'm gonna do 7 rolls for this month. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, now unfortunately, one of the 6-sided die is going to be a regular one. The Halloween set only came with 1, so... Alright, what room are we starting from? 2, mystery. Now, of course, genre doesn't matter, but that's just the room that we are going to be playing in. As you can see, we actually have 3 tiles for the bonus, and we also have multiple comic books to choose from that have special Halloween prompts tied to them, so this should be fun. I am really nervous but excited, so woo, okay. Knocked over a couple books. Okay, that was a 3 and a 1 in the mystery room. Okay. My little mystery character is so cute. Okay. 3 or 1. Now obviously I can't get anywhere with 1. Oh, it's 3, 1, or 4. Sorry. I can't get anywhere with 1. But I can get to a tile in 4. Or a comic book in 3. Ooh, do I want to start with a bonus? You know what? Starting off fresh, we're going to go with a tile. We got to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whew, okay, I'm going to hold the spinner down. This is a handmade spinner. Hopefully it works. Let's see what we get. 5. Okay, number 5 on the spinner is a book that's old to my shelves. So basically an old book that is Halloween and related or aesthetic. So perfect for spooky season. That'll be fun. I have played the game and it was a lot of fun. So much fun, in fact, that I ended up doing 12 rolls. However, I was only going to count the first 7. But yeah, I ended up doing all 12 rolls. So every time I play the game, I make one of these sheets, and I don't know if you guys can read it, but I make one of these sheets and print them off every game, so it's easier to keep track of the books and the prompts and the rolls I made and all of that, so I can continue playing the game without and jot a few notes down without having to do all the work right then. Okay, so I ended up I filled the whole sheet, all 12 slots. That's the most I've ever done on a TBR clue game, and I do not plan on reading all of them. Like, I'm not even going to set myself up for that kind of failure. I did kind of set this game up in my favor so I can kind of pick and choose what I read out of the 12 to make it count for my TBR. So let me show you the ones I ended up choosing for all 12 rolls. Alright, so roll 1 ended up in the mystery room. Now, as I said, genres do not count for this edition of the game, which makes things a lot easier, honestly, to match with prompts from the comic books and from the spinner. Now, I believe I didn't say this before, but the way I set up the spinner for this edition of the game is there were 3 tricks and 3 treats. You know, there's 6 numbers on the spinner. So 3 of them were treats, 3 of them were tricks, and it was like every other number would be each one. So 1, 3, and 5 were tricks, and 2, 4, and 6 were treats. So the tricks were 400 pages or more, my sister picks, or an old book from my shelves that I haven't read yet. Or just in general, honestly. And then the 3 treats were dealer's choice, so I could just randomly pick one. A reread / redemption from past TBRs that I didn't get around to, or a new book from my shelves. So I thought that was kind of clever how I set that up. Now, the thing about setting up these different editions of the game is I put all of this work into it, and then when it comes down to actually playing the game, I'm kind of sad because you don't get to see, because I narrow it down to so few rolls per month, you don't actually get to see or, you know most of the prompts that are attached to the comic books. And the ones that I end up getting, I feel like, are like the basic ones. Like this time getting, you know, old to shelves, new to shelves, or based on Halloween, or characters to celebrate Halloween. You know, those are the basic prompts. They're not even the best prompts. So, and I have some really good Halloween prompts that I made for this edition of the game, and I didn't get any of them, so that was kind of disappointing. And I always kind of get sad when I play these edition of the games and I don't get the good stuff. That kind of happened on my birthday edition of the game as well. And so yeah, it was pretty sad. And then of course I had the spinner, and you know, with the tricks and treats, but I only spun it I think 2 or 3 times for this game, and I ended up getting 1 prompt twice. So you don't get to see, you know, we don't get to partake in some of the more interesting prompts or anything. So, you know, it just kind of makes me sad when it comes to these. So if you would like to see me play this edition of the game again on a different month, let me know down below if you'd like to see that and what month I should play this game again. I am going to keep everything, obviously, because I worked so hard on this. I made 40 different little retro comic books, each of them being different. And also I made the little ghost characters, I handmade the spinner, I got Halloween dice, I made the little vintage, I got those tiles out, and yeah, so I basically made a whole new TBR clue game except for the game board. So so it was a lot of work. So I would love to play it again and not have to wait a full year for it. So if you would like to see me do that again, let me know down in the comments below, and what month you would like to see that. November, I have already decided, will be redemption month for most of the books that I didn't get to in my TBRs from past months. So it'll be kind of, because we're getting so close to the end of the year, I decided November would be like redemption / cozy month. So I can already tell you it won't be November, and it probably won't be December, but if there is another month next year that you would like to see this edition of the game that isn't October, let me know down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to do so, just to show off some of the hard work. Plus, this is a really fun edition of the game. It is my favorite holiday, so I really enjoyed this one. So anyways, moving on. So for the first roll of the game, I ended up in the mystery room. Genres don't count, so I'm just saying what room I played in. So I started off in that room, and I did end up going on a bonus tile right off the get-go, and I got a trick, which is a book old to the shelves. So basically been on my shelves I would usually say a year or more, and I honestly don't know if this book has to be close to a year, if not longer, to be on my shelves, because I keep putting this book on the spin the wheel when I land on the compass bonus on the original game, and it just never, the wheel never ends on it. And I think I even had it on my TBR 1 month and I just didn't get around to reading it. So the book I chose, woo, my hat. So the book I chose to match this prompt is Spellbound by F.T. Lukens. It's a perfect Halloween-y aesthetic book, I believe. It features a lot of magic, and I mean the design alone makes it look mysterious and ominous and creepy. And I know there's like witchy magic and yes, and I think curses and whatnot. So of course this would be perfect for the Halloween month. So this is the first one I chose, and it is 323 pages long. So that's pretty much an average length for me to read in a couple of days. So yes, Spellbound. Roll number 2. Which room? Which room? Okay, I believe that is a 9. Yes, that is a 9. Okay. 9 is nostalgia. Okay. Let's see. There is only one tile in that room. 3, 3 and doubles. So 3, 6. I can honestly get to the tile in 6. And I can't see a way of getting to a comic book. So I guess I'm just gonna go for the tile. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Woo. Gonna fix that book. We're gonna move the dice. And the spinner is coming back. Okay. What we gonna get? Okay, that is a 6. 6 is a book new to my shelves. Wow, okay. So we get a book that's old to my shelves and a book that's new to my shelves. Next, roll 2, I ended up with doubles, but I ended up in the nostalgia room and I ended up on a bonus tile again, and I believe I got a treat this time, a new book to my shelves. And so a new book to my shelves is a classic that I have never read before, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Now, I have seen the movie, The Haunting. It is a classic movie in my mind. I have grown up with that movie, love that movie, and I have always wondered, you know, there was still some unanswered questions and mysteries behind that, like in that movie. There's more, I feel like, that wasn't touched on, and I really wish they would honestly remake that one, but because it was so good. That and The House of Wax were 2 of the big ones, and Dead Silence were the 3 big ones from growing up that I like really enjoyed and wish they would redo, just because I'd love to see a modern version of them with, you know, the better quality, you know, all the special effects nowadays. Like, I feel like it could be amazing with the right team behind it. So yes, anyways, I digress. The Haunting of Hill House, it is a classic that I have never read before. I've seen the movie many times. My sister has read this book and she has said it's a strange one. But yeah, I figured it was finally time I got my hands on the book and I read it for myself. And on top of that, later on you will find out the main reason I want to read this is because I ordered another book similar, but we'll get more into that later. The Haunting of Hill House is 182 pages, so a pretty short book, so it should be a simple read for me, and so that was another good reason for me to add it on this month's TBR. I feel like I have a few shorter reads reads this month, but considering I filled 12 slots on my TBR of possible reads, you know, I kind of had to have some shorter ones in there. So yeah, so Haunting of Hill House. I'm very excited to finally read this one and see the difference between this and the movie and the show. I know there is a show on Netflix, but I still feel like it was missing something. But it was pretty good, so I do recommend that. Alright, roll number 3. Woo, that just flew out my hand before I was ready for it to. And it landed on the pumpkin. Okay, so I'm a little confused. I guess the pumpkin is supposed to be a 10. I'm actually thoroughly confused because all the 9 numbers are on there, and then there's just a bonus pumpkin. I don't know if all the dice are like that. That's confusing. I'm just gonna roll it again because I know all 9 numbers are on there, and then there's just a bonus pumpkin, I guess. So okay, so that is a 4. We are going to the fantasy room. Okay, it looks a little wonky, but let's see. 1 and 2. So 1, 2, or 3. Oh, and this is my fantasy character. So, yeah, I have a comic book in 2. I'm going for it. 1, 2. Our first comic book. And that is 37. Okay, should be simple enough. A book based on Halloween. Alright, simple enough. Okay, so roll 3. I went to the fantasy room, and I ended up with the comic book 37. Honestly, I don't remember which one of these is that. Okay, so comic book 37 was this Do You Dare Enter the House of Mystery comic design, which I thought was pretty cool. So that was comic 37, and that prompt was a book based on Halloween. So like I said, basic prompt, and honestly I had those prompts. I ended up with 2 very similar prompts, and I actually had no books I would go with it. I thought I would, and I did have a couple that I've already read that would maybe fit, but I didn't want to reread them. And yes, so I ended up going down a spiral basically, and I'm really stretching this one. So I am actually reading a nostalgia book, and this one I've had for so long, and I've never fully read it, I don't think, but I loved this series growing up, Goosebumps. And as you can tell, it's very dusty, and this is the classic The Haunted Mask. So of course this does take place on Halloween, so I did, you know, fit that in. It is only 121 pages long, and of course it is, you know, middle-aged to lower age read, so it will be a quick, simple read. I will literally fly through it in maybe an hour max, maybe a little more. So yeah, I don't know if I will actually get around to this one, honestly, but I felt like I had to fill that prompt, and this was basically all I had other than rereads. I did have the Hocus Pocus and the sequel of Hocus Pocus in one book that I could reread, but honestly I just read that last year, and I didn't feel like rereading it because it is a bigger book, and you know, I watch that movie every year, so I didn't want to do that. So so Goosebumps is The Haunted Mask is what we get. Not happy for that one, and I may not even get to it, but honestly I had to throw it in there. So moving on. Okay, so I can get to the comic book in the corner, so I'm just gonna go straight for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tales of Halloween. And that is comic book number 2, which are characters that celebrate Halloween. So we're getting all the basic prompts out of the way, I guess. Okay, so roll 4 is a little bit of a special one that I chose to go with this one. It was in the historical room, and I ended up with comic book 2, which is, this one was Tales of Halloween. I think it's a fan art made one. I found these all on Pinterest, but it is basically like all of the horror slasher movies come together on a comic book cover, so I thought that was pretty cool. Book 2 is characters that celebrate Halloween. Like I said, 2 very similar prompts back to back. Very basic prompts. So out of all the exciting prompts I chose for this edition of the game, I got 2 similar ones and none of the cool ones. But this one does have a cool book to go with it, and it actually goes with the style of this game, and this actually is what made me think of this style of the game with the little retro comic books. Ba-bam! This is the Tales from the Crypt, and it is this EC Archives. Now, I had never read the Tales from the Crypt comics. I was never a comic book reader, and I kind of wish I had been, because there's so many mystery and horror comics that I would love to read, and I love the show Tales from the Crypt. I also love Creep Show, so I kind of just, I love those anthology shows like that with the creepy mascot to intro and outro and, you know, give that theme. So I had to get this, and there are like a full series of these archive books that I've been tempted to grab all of them. So this shouldn't take me very long to go through, and I feel like I will really enjoy it. So I'm very excited for it. I got it special for this edition of the game, and I can't wait. It is like a full graphic novel is what it's called on the back. So, and honestly, a page count wouldn't really do it justice, I don't think. But I will say it is 211 pages long. But like I said, graphic novel / comics are shorter. So I feel like I'll fly through this. And I think it's multiple comics. I think there's 6 of the comic books actually mashed into this one book. 3 are the Crypt of Terrors. I think that's what the comic was called before it switched to Tales from the Crypt. And then there's 3 Tales from the Crypts. So yes, I will thoroughly enjoy this one. I'm excited, and I am so glad I was able to fit this in somewhere. Honestly, I don't know if it fits the prompt, celebrate Halloween. These characters are based off Halloween, okay? I don't know if the stories in particular that's in this one celebrate Halloween or not, but I just had to. I mean, how could I not? So I feel like I get a slide on this one. So that's a pretty cool one, and I'm really looking forward to it. So all right, we are all ready on roll 5. Let's see what room. 5. So we are in romance. See my little ghosty Cupid over there? Five, 5 doubles again. So 5 or 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is comic book number 12. Ooh, a character is murdered. Okay, so roll 5. I ended up with comic 12. Let me see if I can find that. So this comic actually is just, you know, not the best one I could have chosen, but okay, so number 12. is the prompt, a character is murdered. So obviously I have several books that could fit that prompt. That was one of the easiest prompts to match. So this is actually a brand new book to my shelves. I just got it just for this edition of the game, honestly. And I don't know how I came about it. I don't know if it was TikTok or just a random Amazon find. It is a series. This is the first one. I'd never heard of it prior. But A Dead and Stormy Night by Stephanie Holmes. And it sounded right up my alley. I think it's based a cursed bookshop, 3 hot fictional men, and a murder mystery to solve. So how could I not do that for Halloween? Perfect book for October, and luckily I was able to fit it in perfectly with that prompt. I believe it's 303 pages long, so pretty average length for me, and I mean, it's just perfect. And I hope it's really good. I have high hopes for this one. I want it to be a 5-star rating. I am predicting it will be a 5-star rating. And I mean, I love the design also of the cover. I believe this is also a self-publish on Amazon. I could be wrong, so don't hold me to that. But you can buy it for yourself on Amazon. If I remember, I will put a link down in the description below of where I got it. Yeah, it's called the Nevermore Bookshop Mysteries series, and as you can see, this is book 1. So if I love this one, I may be adding another series to my TBR series list, even though that's been growing quite a bit this year. So I really have high hopes. I want it to be good. So I'm really, hit my hat. I really want it to be good, so. Alright, roll number 6. That is a 7. So we are in the thriller room. Okay, let's see how many spaces. 4, 6. Making a mess of the board. Okay, so 4, 6, or 10 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 32. A book that features a black cat. Ooh, that may be difficult. Alright, so for roll 6, I ended up in the thriller room, and I ended up getting comic 32. Woo. And for once, this comic actually really fits the prompt. So the prompt for this is basically just black cat. It has to have a mention of a black cat. And I have the perfect book that I was already planning on rereading for this month. I was going to slip it into my TBR whether it matched a prompt or not. It was just going to be a bonus read, honestly, but then it fit a prompt perfectly that I had to add it. Coraline by Neil Gaiman. So I have an obsession with Coraline. Obviously that's who I'm gonna be for Halloween, so it's a perfect time to reread the book. I believe I've read it 2 or 3 times already. I have watched the movie thousands of times. It was my obsession. I even would play it at night while I slept over and over, so it was just one of those movies I obsessed over. And yes, so this one I just had to reread again this year. It is a very short read, 192 pages long, so it is another shorter one, and I had to slip it in there. And honestly, Black Cat, perfect prompt to match with this one, so I had to do it. I had to. So I am really looking forward to rereading this one, honestly. And there's also, if you go on YouTube, there is a couple different videos I like to play when I read this one, like I did last time. There's one where someone reads it while there's rain going on in the background, and then there's one of a playlist of music that they thought went with the aesthetic of Coraline. and in between it has like little audio clips from the movie of some voice lines, and it's kind of eerie but cool. Like, it just has cool vibes to it. So if I find that video, I may put the link down in the comments below for you guys to check out for yourself. But I really enjoyed that the last time I read this, so hopefully I can find that again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to rereading this one. Roll number 7. That's a 2. So we are back in the mystery room. Let's see how many spaces. Okay, that is a pumpkin and 3. So it looks like on this die, the pumpkin represents 6. So 6 and 3. So 6, 3, or 9 spaces in the mystery room. And we're already on a bonus tile. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. That was not supposed to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bonus tile. Gonna move these out of the way. And out comes the trusty spinner. Okay. What will we get? Woo! 6 again. So that is a book new to my shelves. Okay, so number 7, which was originally going to be the final roll of the game, I ended up with the bonus tile again, and I landed on 6, which is a treat, and it's the same treat I had before, a new book to my shelves. Yes, so I did choose one that I just got like not too long ago. It's very recent. Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. And it honestly has that retro comic book vibe to it as well, so it's kind of perfect. I just felt like it was very fitting for this edition of the game for this month, so I had to do it. And this one I believe is 337 pages long, so about average length for me again, so perfect book to throw into the mix. I don't know what to expect from this one. This was a random find, a blind buy. I don't know anything about the author or anything else really about the book. I read the summary and that was it, so we shall see if this turns out to be a 5-star or not. Alright, now I did have 2 sets of doubles this game, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more rolls as extra, and we'll just see how my TBR goes this month. But I do have some ideas in mind to make this work, so I'm going to do 2 more rolls. Plus, I'm having a good time. Okay, so roll number 8. That is a 6. So we are back in the historical room, and like I said, historical room is kind of the trickiest to film. 2 and 6. So 2, 6, or 8 spaces. And you know what? We haven't been in the adventure room, so I think I'm going to go to the secret passageway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which takes me to the secret passageway in the adventure room. So, which takes me here, and I will roll again for the spaces I get to take in that room to reach either a tile or a book. 5, 3, or 8 spaces. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This looks like a spooky comic book. And that is 23. So a book that takes place in fall. Interesting. Alright, now for roll 8, I ended up kind of really stretching the prompt to fit this one. this is basically one that I haven't been able to get to the past 2 months. It keeps going on my TBR, mainly as a bonus read. And it doesn't fit the prompt at all, but I had to squeeze it in somewhere, and I didn't have any books to fit the prompt. So basically for roll 8, I ended up in the historical room. My hair is everywhere. And I ended up with comic book 23. Yeah, comic book 23. So that prompt is basically a book that takes place in fall, which should be an easy enough prompt if I had prepared a bit enough. And I do have several books, but I couldn't find any that actually took place in fall. A couple of them that I wanted to fit actually took place in winter. I was going to try Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, and if I had the first Harry Potter book, I want to buy the whole series and a matching set, otherwise I would have, but that's kind of expensive to do right now. So anyways, if I had like the first Harry Potter, I definitely would have chosen that for this, because I've yet to read those. But I am fitting Nancy Drew back in there. The Sign of the Twisted Candles. This is the 9th book of the series. This is about the 3rd time I've shown this book on a TBR Clue Game video, so I'm not going to talk much about it, but you know, I didn't have anything else for that prompt, so. Okay, so this is possibly the last roll of the Halloween edition of the game. I'm kind of sad it's going to be over, but let's see what room. That is a 2, so we are back in the mystery room to finish out the game. Perfect room to end it in. Okay, let's see how many spaces. 4, 5, or 9. Okay, so I can get back to the bonus tile that I was originally on. And I mean, there are a few prompts that I have yet to get from the Halloween spinner. So that may be a good choice to take. Let's see, 4, 5, or 9. Or I can go for one of the many comic books in this room. Ooh. You know what? Neither one will be a bad choice. But I'm going to go ahead and go for one of the comic books. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going for the Voodoo comic book. That is number 30. A book featuring the dead. Ooh. Getting close to the end here. Okay, roll number 9. I ended up with an interesting book for this one that I chose for this. Okay, so this book features a curse. It features basically an old movie. Old horror movie, and it turns into a cursed film, so it had to be perfect, right? So for roll 9, I ended in the mystery room, and I ended up with the comic book number 30, the Voodoo comic book. And the prompt that went with that one is featuring the dead. So basically that one could have been like a ghost book, a ghost story, and I did have several that could fit that, but I ended up trying to you know, curse, a lot of people die in it, so I kind of fit that. Burn the Negative by Josh Winning. And this one is 351 pages long. Again, about average length for me. But hardcovers are kind of, I feel like I read them slower. The covers just get in my way, guys. I don't know why. It's just kind of like that, I guess. But yes, Burn the Negative. I don't know too much about it. I've been trying to stay blind to reviews for this one just because I want to experience it for myself. I want to read it, and I already own it. I think I spent a good penny on it too because it came out pretty recently, and I bought it recent, so shortly after it came out. So this one I hope to enjoy. I hope it will be a 5-star rating as well. I don't know. I don't know what to expect with this one. So, but I am excited to finally read it and see what all the hubbub is about. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 extra rolls just to fill out my full sheet here. And because I'm having so much fun, these will basically be my backup rolls in case any of the others don't pan out. Let's see which room I go into for roll 10. 4. That is fantasy. Okay, let's see how many spaces. Ooh. 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Seven. Book 7 has a creepy setting. So this one is kind of different. Okay, so for roll 10, I ended up in the fantasy room and I ended up with comic book number 7. I actually kind of like this comic book cover as well. I don't know if you can see, it's like a Reaper or a zombie skeleton riding a carousel horse. Okay, so comic book number 7, the prompt is, it has a creepy setting. And I had chosen this, I kind of really wanted to reread it. I have reread this one several times over the years. I've had this book since I was preteen, I think. I've actually had my sister read it, and she liked it as well. And I still own the book. It's one of the oldest books I own, I believe. And I have reread it so many times, and I actually keep looking up to see if there's any chances of a sequel. I need to look up recently to see if that author has written any more. And it's actually a Disney book. It came from Disney. Yeah, it has like the Disney publisher. So, Project 17 by Laurie Faria Stolars. And you can tell this book has been through it. It's aged, definitely, but it is such a good book. Woo! It is a fairly short read. It's 248 pages long, and like I said, I've read this one several times, so I feel like I will fly through it, and I will enjoy every bit of it because it is such a great read, even though it's more... it's literally called, said Breakfast Club meets Blair Witch Project is one of the reviews up there. But it's such a good one, and it takes place in an abandoned asylum. These group of kids go in to make a film in the asylum, and they're filming, and they're staying overnight. And basically they find out it's haunted, and a lot of stuff happens, and these people are pretty much, I think, are strangers to each other, so they're also kind of getting to know each other as well. So it just makes an interesting story, and I really enjoy this one, and I can't wait to reread it. It has been a few years, I think, since I've read it, so I am honestly really glad that I still own this book because it's such a joy to read, and I wish there was more, maybe more for more of an adult version, maybe. You know, I definitely wouldn't mind that. So I highly recommend this one, and I can't wait to read it again this month. Roll number 11. That's a 9. So back in the nostalgia room. 5, 5 doubles, so 5 or 10 spaces. Okay, I think this is supposed to be here, and I think I can reach that comic book. We're gonna try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was kind of close. Number 19, a retelling. Okay, second to last one, roll number 11. I ended up in the nostalgia room, comic book number 19. which is around here somewhere. Comic book 19. And this one is a retelling. So the reason I had to fit this one in, and I think this is one that I'm actually going to try my hardest to read this month. It is a new book that I have ordered, and I don't even have it in my possession yet. It comes in on the 6th. Today is the 3rd, so I have a few days to wait. And this book just came out. It is a retelling of The Haunting of Hill House, which I just showed you. I'm reading the classic one this month, and this one is a retelling of that book. So I think it's supposed to be like a more modern version, or this person's take on that story. So I bought that once I saw it, and so now I have to read the classic, and then I get to read the retelling. And so I'm really looking forward to trying and to read both in the same month and compare them, also to the movie and the show. There's just a lot of media to absorb, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm excited to see someone else's take on the story, and see what they do with it, because I feel like there's so many different ways and so many different things that people could take the story and make their own. But yes, so I'm really looking forward to that. I don't even have it in my possession yet. It should be on its way. It should be here soon. But I'm very excited for that. So I'm going to try my hardest to read that this month. Last roll. Roll 12. 6. Historical room, which takes us back to the adventure room because our character is now there. And let's see how many spaces. 1 and 2. So 1, 2, or 3. I mean, we know what I gotta do. 1, 2. Let's bring out the spinner. Okay. Okay, that one wasn't fair. Okay, that is a 1. Ooh, a book 400 pages or more. And the final roll, finally, roll number 12, I ended up on a bonus tile, and I got a trick. So the trick I got was 400 pages or more, and originally I was going to choose the Fear Street, the beginning book from my book haul video. If you watched that, I was finally going to get around to that, but instead I chose a sequel to a series I have started. This one is also from the book haul video. The Haunted by Jessica Verde. This is basically a different way, or kind of a retelling, but a different way of telling of the Sleepy Hollow, the legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman. So it's based off that legend, so of course it had to be perfect for the month of Halloween. So I chose this one instead just because I need to start checking off my series as well, because the list went from practically nothing to a lot very quickly. So I really need to start working on my series, and this one is the next in the trilogy. So yeah, so I chose this one, and I have high hopes for this one because the first one left me very complex. I had very mixed emotions and feelings about it, so I have high hopes for this one to be a 5-star rating. Alright, now I do have a couple more books I'm going to sprinkle into the TBR and try to get to a couple poetry books to read at night, but other than that, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the special Halloween edition of TBR Clue. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!